Failure developer 343 Industries announced earlier today that it is partnering with Limbitless Solutions, a non-profit providing prosthetic limbs for children, to offer Halo-themed, bionic prosthetics to young kids. This is yet another heartwarming example of studios collaborating with important organizations to help those in need, and it's always important to highlight the good work being done. The studio explained the partnership in a blog post, explaining how it was born from the desire to inspire and help others. There are, however, times where opportunities to inspire heroes and deliver wonder present. THAMACLBESWTSIDETHE scope of game code, cutscene scripts, sandbox balancing. The 3D printed Limbitless bionic prosthetics are functional and cost-effective. Best of all, the non-profit organization donates their prosthetic arms completely free of charge to recipients and their families. As far where Halo comes in, beginning in 2019, Limbitless will add 2 special Halo-themed options to their lineup of designs for their 3D printed bionic arms, with the first being a recreation of the Master Chief's own MKY armor. The entire post goes into more detail about the collaboration and the kind of work Limbitless is doing, so be sure to read in there. Mobile game makers, take note, Game Developers Conference 2019 is the place to be if you want to meet and learn from some of the most successful and interesting teams in the game industry. Notably, Gram Games, Henri Mazza, will be presenting a design track talk all about design philosophies and lessons from developing Merge Dragons, a remarkable mix of puzzle mechanics, match 3 game design, and charming dragons. Merge Dragons is a success worth studying. In his talk, Mazza will take you on a journey from how this unlikely concept was born, through how the design pillars of discovery, infinite play, and merging everything shaped the design into a deeply engaging game with strong monetization. He will also share many design insights you can apply to your own work, and even a few fun stories like how a duck accidentally ended up in a game about dragons, and why that's great. Further details on these talks and many more are available now on THEGDC 2019 session scheduler. There you can begin to lay out your GD 2019, which takes place March 18th through the 22nd at the newly renovated Moscone Center in San Francisco. Bring your team to GD, register a group of 10 or more and save 10% on conference passes. Learn more. For more details on GDC 2019, visit the show's official website, or subscribe to regular updates via Facebook, Twitter, OS. Gamasutra and GD are sibling organizations under parent company Informa. Burnout is an imprecise term for a very specific, endemic problem in game development, one often, but not always, caused by the industry's proclivity for crunch. Being a game developer is often an exercise in endurance, working on a creative project for years on end. There is a constant pressure to push harder to see the thing through, a sense that the task is endless, but that more work might just get it done quicker. Financial, social, and cultural reasons make developers throw themselves into it, feeling guilty if or lazy, or afraid of what will happen if it does not get done quicker. Those pressures can and will wear a developer down, slowly crushing them without them even knowing it until it is far too late. Burnout is an extremely serious issue for game developers as they work themselves ever harder to see their passion projects brought to life, all through buckling down to get that huge game released on time. It is an insidious thing that devours minds and bodies with overwork, breaking the wonderful, creative people who want to bring their incredible visions to the world. Whenever you care about someone or something more than yourself, your risk of burnout takes a big leap forward, says Jonathan Holmes, licensed independent clinical social worker. Burnout is a slang term when people get stuck in a behavior pattern that they were once able to thrive in, but over time makes them more and more anxious and depressed. Think of when a car spins its tires at high RPMs without going anywhere, and all you get from it is the stink of burnt rubber. But instead of your car, it's your brain. That's burnout. These overworking behaviors, often lauded, are worn like badges of honor in the game development industry, often only serve to leave its creative minds in ruins, breaking people down. In an industry where people seem proud of working 12, 16, 24, or more hours during crunch periods that never seem to end, there are endless stories of burnout. I got thrown into the deep end and found myself trying to code multiple games by myself in a short amount of time, without any real guidance, says Ko Nguyen of United Kingdom game dev Tech. As time went on, the time pressures grew and grew, as each milestone had to be reached, regardless of the various issues I was running into due to my inexperience. I went from working from home to moving into a small bed and breakfast, so I could be closer to the office, meaning I could code from the first thing in the morning till the very last thing at night, rinse and repeat. My burnout spiral began when I felt like my experience as a teacher was not being recognized by my peers. Whether that was true or not does not quite matter. I decided to work on games outside of my regular 9 to 5 hours, says Jennifer Sherrill of Opaque Space. I kept taking on more and more gigs outside of my full-time job to seek legitimacy, and I never felt like I was quite doing as well or as much as others in my industry. A lot of regional awards and official recognition include questions on what a person does besides their regular job. E.g. 30 under 30 lists. So there is a general consensus on asking people to work more than the regular 40 hours a week. On the worst nights, I would lay in bed with my laptop, glowing with Game Maker open, says James Earl Cox III of Seemingly Pointless. I was trying to play with it next to me, hoping that maybe I would wake up refreshed and ready to code something. But it mostly existed as a reminder that I was not making anything anymore. There was an overwhelming one of guilt. I did fall asleep in a panic and wake up the same way, one day closer to whatever trivial deadline I was currently reading. These stories can be the end of a game, though, the last straw for a project, and for the person behind it. As an industry, how can we identify warning signs in our own behaviors? How can we sense burnout coming before it hits? And what can we do about it when it's here? Most importantly, how can we stop it from happening to begin with? Gamasutra spoke with a handful of developers about their personal stories of burnout, and how, as an industry, we can hope to heal and better protect from the awful practices that led to it. In graduate school, I was pushed to work myself to the bone, and I did it was a year and a half accelerated master's degree program at the Guildhall School, says Tanya Short of Kit Fox Games. Although classes were of a standard length, assignments and projects easily ate up 60 to 80 hours every week. The whole 80 maths, I have become very sensitive to how the quality of my work suffers when I am not well rested, physically and mentally. In the latter half of 2016 and the first half of 2017, I took Sausage Spots Club to several PAX conventions. This being big marketing and networking opportunities, I of course wanted to push to make the game as polished as possible. Says Chris Wade of Luckshot Games. Each time one of these events would come around, I'd spend 2 weeks before the show overworking myself every day. That means long hours, not spending time with friends and my then girlfriend, and just generally failing to take care of myself and living space. Then the event comes and there's more crunch, like living with booth prep, setup, and then having to be on all day, every day demoing the game. At each convention, all of that combined to make me a ball of stress and anxiety, and dead brain, and then I did get home and be useless for a few days, and then close to useless for a few weeks, and now the next PAX is in a month. Here we go again.